Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, online, a radical feminist, told me we should stop pushing motherhood on children. And what I thought was really, it was a long back and forth, but what I thought was really twisted about this is how some women, that is, who are usually atheistic lesbians or atheistic yet occultic how should I word this? They're very occultic women who resent their fathers and don't respect their mothers. This isn't all of them, but I noticed a pattern that they saw an injustice that a man committed. They saw their mom drink a lot or some type of trauma, and they get very angry when they see a healthy example of a mom talking about the joys of children and of marriage and of serving a man. And it bothers them that the stay-at-home moms exist and openly talk about how they don't want to be really rubbing shoulders with men and competing with men and being a Hillary Clinton-esque type of individual, right? Now, there's a lot that could be said, but I think that we should talk about motherhood and promote motherhood, because when you hear a lot of stories, like, for example, on channels like Soft White Underbelly on YouTube, it starts with, I lost my mom at a young age who was good and it traumatized me, or my mom was bad and it traumatized me. And if you look at the danger to society when mothers fail and the good for society when mothers excel, you can clearly see that we have to combat evil by promoting good motherhood. And very few women are happy without having children to the same degree as someone who has a healthy family network. Let me explain. Chelsea Handler gets high, uses a male toy, and has no kids because she came from a bad situation in her childhood, and I guess she saw relationship problems that she didn't like. And so her life is taking care of a dog, right? Spending money, using drugs and inanimate objects, and being passed around from man to man. Okay? And doing plastic surgery and Botox and all that. That's her lifestyle. Now, a woman who has a good grandfather, a good grandmother, a healthy relationship with her siblings, she has a husband who provides, and she has healthy children. Her experience and that joy that comes from having that strong family network and being sober and praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be on a different level of joy than somebody who requires intoxicants and money, right? If someone who is sober and has children and gets to have the opportunities of all the cute, hilarious things that kids do mixed with the trials as well, but they get to have a deeper level of happiness. That's why so many cultures of the past celebrated fertility. And people were happy to get pregnant and happy that their child survived, certain illnesses. People wanted their children to stay alive. And if you even think about it further, when human sacrifice happened, they would always be like, oh, children are this ultimate sacrifice for their idols. And you're like, the child is worth more than the adult, even for those sickos. So even though those cultures are evil, they still see how the child has value. So if a sick pagan cult can value fertility because they need kids for their weird sacrifice, why wouldn't better religions obviously value having children? Why wouldn't a sane woman value having a child? It is not evil or dirty to promote motherhood. And what bothered this feminist so much was on a particular video, which I'm going to write about on my blog, this mother was talking about how her daughter, one of her greatest joys will be having children and serving her husband. And this kid was potty trained, and I think probably second grade, maybe, you know? And this really bothered these RadFems. It had thousands of insults on this mother, even RadFems calling for the mother to be taken, for the child to be taken away from the mother, which I screenshot. And these are the same people who push hormones and other surgeries on minors without their parents' knowledge and consent. And we could get deeper into that, but we know YouTube doesn't allow that conversation. But what I'm trying to get at here is these women were so triggered that motherhood was being discussed openly from a mother to her daughter, as if that was absurd, as if that was evil, as if that was dirty. That we shouldn't talk about fertility, we shouldn't talk about marriage, that you have to put that off and wait. And it's strange because they fetishized it as if we were promoting child marriage in the threads, and it's like, no. It's totally normal to talk about family to your daughters. Your daughters will see people get married, go to baby showers. They'll see their friends at school, oh, the mama's pregnant. They'll see their cousins have new, additions to their families. They may have a dog who has puppies or some chickens that, lay eggs. They see life around them, okay? And tons of little girls have little strollers with baby dolls, and they have a little play kitchen, and they feed the baby, and they see their moms nurse the children. There's nothing wrong with saying one day too you can have this, and then using that as a wonderful opportunity to talk about how you want to have a husband who you actually like, who respects you, who honors you, and that serving them and taking care of their needs won't bother you because you actually care for them, right? And treat others how you want to be treated is a very popular phrase we have. You cannot expect a man to take care of your needs and then you don't serve his needs either. It can't be one-sided, okay? Even if one person will always do more and a little less, but that doesn't mean that you somehow think everyone must come to you and you must never give. And when you are actually a good person, you will give to people even if they don't give everything back. That doesn't mean you overextend yourself, but you do what has to be done for the sake of duty, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you give something to somebody, you don't always expect something back. Okay? When you give charity, you don't expect something back. But you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to have that good deed in your accounting. Treating your husband good literally is going to give you more blessings on Judgment Day, even if he fails sometimes to acknowledge what you did. See, in the atheistic world, the man has to reciprocate instantly. He has to just get on his knees and say, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best, and worship you as a woman. When in reality, it's, I'm going to make sure, the home is comfortable. I'm going to make sure he has the food he likes. The little sweet things you can do for your husband to make his life even better. Right? Let's say you ordered him a sweater online that he likes. You got him some new socks because you saw, maybe he had a hole in some of them. Right? You do things because you love that person, and even if you don't love that person, you still treat that person with human dignity and respect. And instilling your daughter to have this mentality to seek to help others and to serve others, that's a good thing. It shouldn't be just pure selfishness. Everyone gotta help me. It's all about me. I. That's pure selfishness. And they said it was wrong to indoctrinate daughters, little girls, with motherhood. And that serving her husband will bring her joy and happiness. Because they said that takes away her personhood. No. Who you pick to have children with is one of the most important decisions in your life. It's more important than the college you go to, more important than the degree you get. A bad partner can literally end your life or add to your life. And everything in between. There are tons of stories of people who picked wrong and they're in the grave. Okay? There are people who picked the right person and that helped them to endure the struggles of life. It is so important for girls to have somebody talk to them about relationship and marriage. I never got that. Okay? Nobody talked to me about it. So that infected the way I picked men. It affected the way in which I viewed myself as a person. And I see how detrimental it is to the female psyche if you don't talk about motherhood, its pros, its struggles, the duties you have, all of it, right? It's important to talk about why you should be a good wife. You should want to be a good wife. Just because women in your family were treated poorly doesn't mean you need to go in with a nihilistic, cynical view towards marriage. You cannot take other people's bad relationships and stuff it on your own and doom yourself. You have to have hope. And so it's not wrong to promote fertility and motherhood. That should be the standard, because we mothers keep the world populated. We keep everything going. Okay? If you want to be childless and chase a career, you still have human value. But you don't then get to censor the discussions and call it child abuse for mothers to pass down wisdom of what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a mom, what it means to be a wife. Okay? It's amazing how they don't see the side of telling someone to ignore their biology and chase a college degree that gets them in the debt to the bank with high interest loans. Like, they don't warn you about how you pushing off all these guys, increasing your body count, and going out of your 20s and into your 30s, how many less kids you'll have, and how you may become infertile. They don't discuss any of that. It's all, don't brainwash people into wanting to be a mom. This is quite bizarre. There's this struggle. There's this deep struggle of promoting motherhood and wanting women to have a safety net and extracting happiness from multiple areas in life. But for any feminist to deny that motherhood makes many women happy, even though it's hard, would be totally dishonest. Because women risk their lives to have children. Yes, some women get knocked up by Joe Schmo and they get an abortion, and some women get knocked up and they don't care about their child and they give them up for adoption or whatever. But in reality, I would say that a great number of women, they know the risk, the pain, the journey. It's all a huge challenge, but it's the contest of life. And if motherhood was so evil, there wouldn't be so many people on the planet. There wouldn't be so many people on the planet, because these RadFems, it's almost like their goal is to depopulate Earth and to separate man and wife and to break up the nuclear family. Okay? Motherhood becomes easier when you have a good husband, when you control your vices, when you discipline yourself, and when you have a strong family network. And if you don't have that, you try to rebuild that for your children. Okay? You don't black pill them, as they say, and doomerize them and think it's all gloomy out there. You warn them, you strengthen them, and you let them go and try. But it's not wrong to tell your daughter that one day she'll have kids and get married too. It's wrong to encourage girls to let men hit it and quit it and gain 50 bodies, as they say, and to think that a fake plastic male object, imitation object, is going to satisfy them the same way as a living, breathing human being. Because if we tell men a robot isn't going to satisfy them on a spiritual level as much as a breathing human being who came out of another human, right? Then we cannot sit here and let the RadFems who have chronic, okay, I'll be nice, who depend upon intoxicants and plastic toys, as they're called, in order to feel good. It's wrong to tell girls that's a sufficient replacement for another human being. Do you see the perversion here? They hate motherhood and wifehood so much that they think it's child abuse and sick and wrong to encourage marriage and to encourage thinking about a family in the future and being excited for the future. And that mothers don't have a right to want to be grandmas. We don't have a right to speak about wanting to be grandmas. Like, what? But these women are so bitter. It's insane. Like, they have so much trauma, they won't get help for it, and misery loves company. And now they're to the point where they're disgusted and angry and vitriolic when they see a mom openly talk about with her daughter about serving her husband and having kids. It's like, I was a literal restaurant server. I was a waitress. I'm a server of hospitality. You will serve your husband an atmosphere, a mood, a connection, a bond. You should serve his needs and he will serve yours. You know, give and take. I do this, you do that. Cooperation, harmony, reciprocation, cooperation. I mean, come on. It's not just everyone has to come to you like you're some goddess. Astaghfirullah. You know, get it together. But again, I think it's so important to talk about motherhood because moms need some advice. They need help. They need to know what's coming for them. Right? And some people want to leave feminism and they don't know how, and they're afraid to lose all their RadFems groupings, and they're afraid to leave that cult. So we have to guide them out and show them that there's another way, and no matter which way you go in life, you're going to struggle. You'll struggle as a mom, and you'll struggle when you don't have no kids. Right? Toughness is all over this earth for all creatures. Okay? That's just how it is going to be. Alright? From the insects to the sea world to the birds that fly in the sky, everybody gonna struggle in some way. You have to pick which path you want to go on. And 18 years, you know, it's not that long, right? Your children are only small for a short time. So that difficult stage is gonna still have a bunch of memories. Okay? We have so many broken homes that carry so much dysfunction that now people fear motherhood and see it as dirty. If you want to repair the stigma around, you know, broken families, you have to create better families. You have to want to repair what motherhood is. But now that men are cross-dressing and being called women, our sacred position as mothers is being taken from us. So people think it's sick to talk about the joys of being a good wife and of a good mother, to the point where this lady literally had like blue streaks in her hair. It's like, why is it always these women who are so frazzled that they just get so, I hate this word, but they get like outraged, triggered, and normal human behavior, right? It's strange. It doesn't, when you become a mom, you gain a new identity. You level up in life to a different degree, to a different type of existence. And if some women fail, they become drug addict losers, they don't care about their kids. They didn't level up. They stayed in a different abyss. They didn't really reach the pinnacle of what it means to be a present, caring, nurturing mom. Those who rise to the challenge are the ones you look to, not the ones who gave up. Not the ones who threw in the towel and said, I'm not going to do good, I'm not going to suffer for my kids, it's all about me and my selfish desires. The mothers who endure so many trials for their kids are the ones we should look up to. And by looking up to them, we can talk about motherhood openly. When a bird covers her babies in the rain, when a wildebeest is attacking a lion to save its calf, you see these mothers all around us defending their young, and you also see some scary examples as well. Crabs eating their babies. You see some craziness, right? A pig can eat her own piglet, sit on them, crush them, and whatnot. But we try to be the best examples, and we try to fix our imperfections and family trauma and dysfunction. So no, we should not stop pushing motherhood. We should always talk about motherhood, and we should remind people that there's gonna be suffering no matter which way you go. But being a mom is fulfilling in and of itself. And there will be days where it's super hard. But loneliness and only having cats or a chihuahua or whatever, that's also going to be quite hard. And chugging down Chardonnay and using Tinder to hook up with random guys is not going to be as fulfilling for so many. And so it's not wrong of us to offer a different path, give a different narrative, a different perspective, right? if you're going to push women choosing a high debt to a college and a career and them freezing their eggs and doing surrogacy, which surrogacy should be banned, if you can push that and you can tell girls to take off their breasts to become men and take testosterone and grow beards, there's nothing wrong with us telling women that treating your husband well and serving his needs so he can serve yours and being respectful to him, there's nothing wrong with us saying that. Because that's how you keep families together. If we want to keep families together, you must talk about motherhood. And the more we talk about motherhood, the more men will have respect for mothers, for their wives. Okay? So it's fascinating. Truly fascinating. I'll do a couple more videos on it, but as those threads come in, they're just raging at me. And it's like, wow. Like, I didn't have a good mom. Didn't have a very good grandma. But I never thought to myself, I'm gonna therefore not have kids. No, I would lay down my life for my children. There's days where it's super hard and days where it's just like, this is hilarious and great and everything's fine. But it's bizarre how people think because they have some mother trauma that means that we now must promote infertility, loneliness, and intoxicants as a substitute for real human interactions. The amazingness of being pregnant and feeling your baby grow and suffering to bring them into this world and then nursing them from your own body and watching them learn to walk, to crawl, to eat their first food, say their first words. You can't compare that to an animal. And mind you, I grew up around dogs. I had fishes, hamsters. I have parrots. Played with snakes. I'm a very animal-tuned person. I love animals, okay? But you can't compare that to a human being. They cannot love you the same. And a lot of animals are food, okay? So it's like, don't compare it, man. Don't compare it. But hopefully more Muslim women will talk about motherhood and we can combat the RadFems agenda. Let me know what you think, maybe what you're doing to promote motherhood where you are. I'm also doing a series with Scottish Reaver teacher in the Copy Diaries on Mom Academy. We're talking a lot about, femaleness, what it means to be a mom, what it means to be married, all that good stuff. Because it's needed, because these women are so broken and brainwashed and shattered and inverted that they now can understand why a mom would pass down that wisdom and have those loving conversations about how it'll be good to serve your husband and you'll get great joy from having children. Because when you love a man, you want to have his babies. It's like these chicks have probably slept with so many loser guys. They can't even comprehend that you can like a guy so much that you're like, get me pregnant right now. Because they've never had that. So to them, it's disgusting. It's bizarre. Broken women lashing out at those who are not as broken as them. It's quite strange. Quite strange. The feminists, I'm telling you, man. There's some strange people. They're very different. Very different. But there's reform. A lot of people leave feminism. And East versus West. Some women in the East are turning to feminism and some in the West are like, screw this, we learned our lesson, we're going more religious. So we're switching worlds right now in real time, because the internet is transferring so many ideas. And world travel, airplanes, cruises, buses, cars, people are moving about, ideas are being shared. So it's not hopeless, but on this channel, I promoted motherhood a lot. I have a motherhood playlist. You should check it out. Check out the lives because I've talked about, all kinds of different topics around pregnancy, around breastfeeding, you name it. Tons of stuff. So that's how we combat these weirdos. Is we don't let them shame us in celebrating fertility, celebrating becoming a grandma, and celebrating passing down wisdom and knowledge and marriage advice to our young women who are in our family. because that's how we change the future, right? If you'd like to join my blog, I'll share some screenshots on there next week, and you can see like, whoa, these ladies are crazy. And if you go in the blog and you type in key tags, you can see what I've already written. And also I'm reading that book, Sexual Revolution, where I go into some of the RadFems ideas, which not too many Muslim women do, detail by detail. So you can check that out as well. Just go on my playlist and you'll see all this different kind of content. And then in the vlog playlists, you'll see other topics as well, because I like to share my ideas and I'm, really interested in these topics. So let me know what you think, and keep talking about motherhood. Keep talking about it. Keep passing on that wisdom. All right? See you later.